Today, we're making one of my all-time favorite dishes, Mr. Pierre Koffmann's cuttlefish bolognese. It's a wonderfully clever dish. We use the tentacles from the cuttlefish to make a ragu, and we use the white meat of the cuttlefish to make the spaghetti. Let's do it. First, to make life easier for us, we're gonna blanch the dark meat before we slice it. I mean, if you have Mr. Koffmann's knife skills, then you can do it raw. This also helps it release a lot of the excess liquid. So we bring it back to a boil for just about a minute. And we can use the same liquid to cook the spaghetti for the illusion of more flavors. All right, now this has firmed up. So there's no correct way to do this. You can do it tentacle by tentacle. Because we're making a ragu, this will cook down, so don't worry too much if you're not mincing it too finely. I love these one ingredient dishes. You have Mr. Koffmann's squid bolognese. Nino Mendes had milk as a single ingredient dessert. And there's this really famous Italian guy, I forgot his name, who does Parmesan 7 ways or something like that. How many tentacles do they have? This is not octopus, so maybe 6? I'll Google that and put that in the description for you. All right, now we can make our ragu. Medium-high heat. Once the pan is hot, olive oil, cuttlefish goes in. And salt, pepper. So if you didn't blanch it before, this will release a lot of liquid. That's when you want to drain them. But because we did the blanching, I'm hoping it'll get to brown a little bit before we add the shallots and the garlic and the rest. So we want all that to evaporate before we can get some caramelization. All right, as you can hear from the sound, now we're starting to get a bit of browning. You might want to adjust the heat just to avoid it from burning. Now, we add our shallots. By the way, there's definitely a version of Pierre Koffmann doing it somewhere correctly, so definitely watch that after you finish watching this. Now we add the garlic. We always add the garlic slightly after the shallots so that they don't burn. They have more sugar content, basically. If you think the burnt bottom might be too dark, you can always add a dash of water just to do a quick deglaze. Okay, we add a bit of parsley. Now, tomato puree and completely optional salted anchovy puree and a bit of chili flakes. In this case, I'm using Japanese 7 spices, Shichime Togarashi. At this point, you taste. I didn't taste enough when the camera's on, I realized. Need to change that. Oh, beautiful. We add some white wine for acidity. And you use the opportunity also to scrape the bottom of the pan to release any burnt bits. Once the alcohol content has evaporated, we have 2 optional ingredients that I like to add for some extra umami. But if you don't have them, you can just use water. It's no big deal. First, dashi made from just a sachet. If you have homemade dashi, even better. And a very light soy sauce. Again, for some extra umami. Beautiful. And put the lid on. Bring it to medium heat. And we let it simmer for about 20 minutes while we make our spaghettis. Now, the easy part or the hard part, depending on whether you have a slicer. If you do, put this in the freezer for a bit, slice them thin, you're done. I don't. So we do this the hard way. Trim off the ends just to release it a bit. And you really you do your best. You need a sharp knife for this. Well, I was once at my friend Mario's trying to impress people by cooking this dish, and all he had was dull knives, and I was so embarrassed until my chef friend Sal, who I still think is the best chef in Los Angeles, did this way thinner with a dull knife. So, amazing job. All we have to do is to give the sauce another 15 minutes and we plate. I'll see you then. All right, after 20 minutes, our sauce is ready. We have a pot of boiling water. Now we're just gonna blanch the pasta and plate. Very simple. So, squid in. And this cooks down very quickly. Perfect. Drain. and we just add a tiny bit of olive oil to it. And now we can plate. This is almost pappardelle. The moral of the story is you should buy a slicer. Make a well-ish in the middle. Spoon this beautiful sauce on top. Add just a bit of parsley to garnish, tiny bit more olive oil, and a touch of black pepper. And there you have it, one of my favorite dishes of all time. A variation on Mr. Pierre Koffmann's cuttlefish bolognese. I really hope you enjoy.